Hi everyone, this is Jamez1. I've just bought a sexy new Shure SM58 microphone, so I thought I'd test it out by having a little bit of a atheistic rant on YouTube. Why not, eh? Why not? I'm copying the format of Brett Keane here because, let's face it, I don't have to make a video that way. So I'm just going to get right down to it because there are some things which really fucking annoy me about religion, and I'm going to have a big old rant about it right now and hopefully join the ranks of the other like-minded atheistic YouTube people. I'm not doing very well so far, am I? Right, here we go. If you were raised in a religious household and your parents were adamant that you grew up to believe in their God, they will have used any means possible to ensure that you grew up with their belief. Okay, think about that for a second. If you were raised in a religious household and your parents were adamant that you grew up to believe whatever they believed, then they will have used any means possible to ensure that you grew up with their belief. The same is no doubt likely with their parents, you know, because how else does this stuff stay alive? With the advancement of science in the world today, fuck me if I know, but I think I've got a bit of an idea, which I'm going to be talking about in this video. It's the dirty tactics that the religious fundamentalists love to employ on their kiddies, because they're so kind like that. Okay. This is directed at religious people again. Whatever you think you know about people who live their lives without a belief in God, you've been lied to. Evolution is more than a theory, awe-inspiringly more complex than religious people describe it as. In the stubborn religious mind, evolution is only the thought that we come from a glob of goo, quote, or that it was just an explosion which creates stars and planets and jam and helicopters and us. Yeah, all the stars and planets, including the one we inhabit today, Earth. These theories are testable and infinitely more complex than fundamentalists will have you believe. They brush them off in one sentence. A glob of goo. That's all they've got to say about evolution. We come from a glob of goo. Whatever. There is a section in Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, which I've just finished reading, which I particularly liked, about a court case against a group of creationists. And the expert witness that got called in for this was a guy called, I don't know how to pronounce his name, it's spelt, he's Michael Behe, like Behe. But I don't know, I'm presuming it's pronounced Bay or something like that. So I'm going to call him Bay from now on. And if that's not his real name, I don't give a shit, because he sounds like an arsehole. Okay, so he was this expert witness called in because a group of creationists had been tagged for trying to impose the ridiculous theory of creationism on a local public school, on the syllabus. And the point I'm raising with regards to this is that it is completely natural to the religious to deny vast and hard evidence that is in front of them. And Bay cited that there is lacking evidence with regards to evolutionary immunology. That's basically our immune systems, the thousands of tiny white blood cells and T cells and the little good guys inside us that help us fight internal disease. The prosecution, brackets, the scientists who had actually been trying to progress the field instead of finding holes in it, presented to Bay no less than, quote, 58 peer-reviewed publications, 9 books, and several immunology textbook chapters about the evolution of the immune system. However, he simply insisted that this was not sufficient evidence for evolution, and that it was, quote, not good enough. This is the point I'm making. Religion is so stubborn that it will not budge on any topic, even when a gargantuan amount of verifiable evidence is laid down to explain it. Perhaps it's because the whole concept of verifiable evidence is something that has always eluded religion. Bay dismissed the work as unfruitful, and Dawkins rightly says, quote, It certainly is unfruitful if your aim is to make propaganda among gullible lay people and politicians rather than to discover important truths about the real world. Well said, Richard. Natural selection is more than a theory because it is based on fact and scientific discovery. You know, that thing that religion is so desperately trying to hitch a ride on at the minute, trying to play us at the very thing that not 200 years ago we were being persecuted for practicing. Now that we're actually advancing as a society, the efforts of organised religion are getting more and more desperate, and sadly, through the dirty tactics that they employ, it's working in several communities in the US, presumably preyed upon tactically with funding by the government with an aim to win a majority voting bloc for any president who pretends that he believes in God. George Bush. Conspiracy theory, perhaps, but from what I've observed, there doesn't seem to be anything that's beneath a corrupt U.S. government. Yes, I don't even live in America, and I'm disgusted by the policies of whatever. Theories derived from scientific discovery are different from religious theories because they can be tested, refuted, and replaced. Religion stubbornly stands its ground with no factual evidence whatsoever to back it up, only ridiculously flawed and hypocritical emotional arguments. What religion boils down to is that there is no logical reason to believe in God, only emotional ones. But the sad fact about that is, it's only if you're brought up religiously that these emotional requirements actually come into existence, because religious indoctrination of children works on guilt and fear, the two most evil things in themselves you can use to make a child believe something, in my opinion. I submit that the manipulation of children mentally, physically or otherwise is the most evil thing a person can do. And these fundamentalists do it all the time. It's not that atheists wouldn't bring up their children to believe the same things as they do. There is always going to be an element of bias, but the difference is that atheists would never even dream of using guilt and fear to sway the opinions of their children. That's just evil. God. But if your parents did it to you and their parents did it to them, none of your close family could ever even see what's happening to you all. You are all the victims of indoctrination, and you are taught that there's nothing wrong with indoctrination. The language religion uses is unparalleled in any other school of brackets. What's the word? Parentheses? Is that American quotation? Finger quotes. That's what I'm doing. The language religion uses is unparalleled in any other school of finger quotes life education. Enough said. Okay, there are probably many reasons why faith, that is, a belief without any evidence, is an attractive proposition. The biggest fact about human life, which I observe in the complex mess that it can be, is that on the whole people are very, very afraid of the counterpart of life, that is death. Death. I don't want to die. Think about that. If people weren't so afraid of death, would religion have such a strong clutch on the poor, numerous minds of millions? If religion didn't have an answer to the natural fear of death, if it didn't give claims that it knows what happens after you die, which no one is ever going to be able to find out, because you can't ask someone when they're dead, because they're dead. Nobody knows. It would cease to be as it is now, and would merely become a mixed set of some very strong, hypocritical, bigoted, arrogant, forceful, vengeful, spiteful, hateful, rash, loud opinions on how we should live our lives, you know, like all women should be subservient to the man, and gays should be stoned, and, you know, virgins everywhere, all that bollocky nonsense that's in the Bible. This noted, ask yourself, do you believe in your holy textbook because you agree with its philosophies, or because it lies to you, telling that you'll never die, and you incredibly selfishly and self-centeredly take comfort in this knowledge? Oh, well, I'm not going to die. Spiffy. Let's all go and persecute some people. Yeah, fuck you, buddy. Yeah. Again, the blame doesn't lie with you. It lies with whoever manipulated you into believing the ridiculous superstitions you may well do.